So it turns out that the Declaration of Independence was almost very different.
Yeah, at first it was a rap. You know, it was INDEPENDENT. Do you know what I mean? And the British were like, no. So then Thomas Jefferson had to spell it out. It's not as catchy, but it doesn't get stuck in your head.
Yep, at the time of the writing of the Declaration of Independence, that document that would help to sever our connection with the British, long before they severed their connection with the EU, topical humor, almost had an anti-slavery paragraph, which ended up, you'll see at the end of it, it was a little bit weak sauce and mostly said that it was due to the king that there was slavery instead of our own greed. But it nearly made it in, and today, in memory of Independence Day, which just recently passed, we are going to read it for you. By we, I mean me. I'm speaking in the royal way. Speaking about the king, he has waged cruel war against human nature itself, violating its most sacred rights of life and liberty in the persons of a distant people who never offended him, captivating and carrying them into slavery in another hemisphere, or to incur miserable death in their transportation hither. This piratical warfare, the opprobrium of infidel powers, is the warfare of the Christian king of Great Britain, determined to keep open a market where men should be bought and sold, also women. He has prostituted his negative for suppressing every legislative attempt to prohibit or to restrain this execrable commerce. Oh, that's a word we gotta bring back. Execrable. Maybe that's why we got rid of it.
Maybe we should work on that before we bring it back.
Determining to keep open a market where men should be bought and sold, and that this assemblage of whores might want no fact of distinguished dye, he is now exciting those very people to rise in arms against us. That is a reference to attempting to say that any slaves who flee from slavery, if they fight on the side of the British, will gain their freedom, which actually we ended up doing too during the Civil War. Let's see. And to purchase that liberty of which he had deprived them, by murdering the people upon whom he has also obtruded them, thus paying off former crimes committed against the liberties of one people with crimes which he urges them to commit against the lives of another. So basically saying, it is the king's fault.
Well, but it's not really about, I mean, at first they start off, it's about, like, the humanity of it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
then they forget about that stuff.
Then it's like, no, but we don't want them to, like, you know, rise up against us and
which I understand. I don't want an uprising.
Fair, but they should have kept, I think, the humanity part going a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
And then this paragraph, and while it seemed long while you were reading it,
I think
when you talk about the horrors of slavery, it is very short comparatively.
Yes,
but it should have made it in.
Yeah,
we didn't abolish slavery until almost 100 years later, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, and so.
But who knows? Maybe it would have been longer if he didn't write this paragraph.
Maybe. Wait.
He's planting the seed in people's minds.
So some people did see it, and there's the historical documentation of it and everything. He originally had it in there, and then he submitted it for approval or disapproval. And there were a lot of people who had some reasons to not want it in the final draft for economic reasons.
John,
both south and north.
Let me get this straight. So back then, people made these, you know, sweeping decisions that affected, like, the lives and livelihood of others, just based off solely politics. Interesting.
I feel like this is a personal attack against me, but I don't understand how.
No, I'm glad. I mean, it's just, I mean, if you think about it, it's fucking ridiculous that they made these decisions based off trying to, you know, have some sort of, like, agreement where they could all just sort of compromise and be okay economically and all that bullshit, when obviously this is totally inhumane and awful and horrendous, similar to why we make certain decisions today. Is like they try to, like, appease the other side, and they end up not moving anywhere, and they affect people's lives whom, like, they don't even interact with, or it doesn't matter whether it be a bathroom situation or a sweeping economic situation.
That's true.
Just because we don't want to, like, you know, piss off the other guys in the suit across the table from me.
That's why I go out of my way to piss off people. Okay. Yes. And it would have been nice in a document that extols the virtues of independence and freedom and working towards a better life, if they were to actually have gone out of their way to acknowledge that there are people who have it far worse than they did. It wasn't just political bondage.
And it's so ironic that they're talking about Declaration of Independence. We want our freedom and the freedom of this, freedom of that. Oh, these people, well, they're not free.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, the only part that you can't allow this to fool you into thinking that this was like the king said, no, you have to have slavery, and that's the only reason we had it. There were people who, for ideological reasons, religious reasons, and economic reasons, wanted and benefited from slavery, and we can't let them off the hook, even while this would be a good section of the document. So let us know what you think about this. Would it have been a better document with it included? Is there anything else the document, the Declaration of Independence, should have included? You can make suggestions down below. If I ever make it to the afterlife, I'll talk to TJ about it, and we'll see you in the next video.